अस्मत् गुरुभ्यो नमः अस्मत् परम गुरुभ्यो नमः अस्मत् सर्व गुरुभ्यो नमः श्री लक्ष्मी नृसिंह परब्रह्मणे नमः श्री लक्ष्मी हयवदन परब्रह्मणे नमः श्री कृष्ण परब्रह्मणे नमः सर्वं श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु. Sorry for the last class, we could not do it. Too busy. Now we are going to do the 8th lecture, and let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. What if I do the slideshow? Can you still see?
Yeah, we saw the next slide.
What about this? Can you see the next slide?
Yeah, the slide with the question, why is the study of Jiva? Yes, we can see.
Okay, perfect. Then let's start this. Okay. So in this class, the content of the class would be to analyze the bhashyas of Shankaracharya and Ramanujacharya on chapter 2, verse 11. That is, Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neve janadhipaha nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamatah param. That is the purpose of this class. That is the content of the class. While doing this, we have already covered this. All it says is, all of us existed forever. In the past and in future, we always exist. We always existed in the past. We will exist in the future too. That's what Lord Krishna said in the 2nd chapter, in this verse. Why is this so important? And this is where Ramanujacharya and Shankaracharya take slightly different stances. And why is this so important? To answer the question, I got this verse from Shvetashvatara Upanishad. It says, Etad jneyam nityameva atmasamsthitam natah param veditavyam hi kinchit bhokta bhogyam preritaram cha matva sarvam proktam trividham brahmametat. I don't know whether the shloka is exactly printed here. There may be small spelling mistakes here, but we can correct it later. The meaning of this is, we have this particular thing has to be known. Etad jneyam nityamev atmasamstam. That means what is eternal, we need to know this. Natah param veditavyam hi kinchit. There is nothing to be known other than this, nothing else. Beyond this, you don't need to know anything. What you need to know is bhokta, that is the enjoyer of the fruits of actions. Bhogyam, that is objects of enjoyment. Prerita is the impeller, inspirer, that is God. Sarvam proktam trividham brahmametate. All these three form Brahman, that is self, selves, they are the enjoyers or the experiencers, the objects of experience, and then the inspirer, that is the God. So we need Ishvara, we can call Bhagavan, where people say Bhagavan, we can have different names there. But this is fundamental. Only when you know these three entities properly, it's important. That is, one can attain immortality by this. Bhokta bhogyam preritaram cha matva sarvam proktam tridam brahmameta. In another place, bhokta bhogyam preritaram cha matva prasakatmanam preritaram cha matva jushtastatah amritatvam. Another verse says, Prathak Atmanam Preritaram Chamatva. After knowing separately yourself and the inspirer God, you will attain immortality. So this is a very important thing that we are trying to understand. That is why philosophers have spent years on explaining this. There are chapters and books have been written on this subject. The next slide. Let's go to the Shankara Bhashya for this Natvevaham verse. Natvevaham Jatanasam, we have said that. Now, Shankara Bhashya says, Kutaste ashocyaha yato nityaha. One should not worry about them because they are eternal. Katham natve, what is this Natvevaham Jatanasam means? That means ever in the past, for infinitely, Natveham Jatanam, never was a time when I did not exist. That is Lord's words. Atiteshu dehotpatti vinasheshu. That means once the body, after the body is created and body dies, like how the pots, ghatadishu vyadiva, when the pots are broken, the space inside the pot is not perishable. Pot can perish. Pot can break into pieces. What happens to the space inside the pot? That becomes one with the outer space, the open space. So the space, or Akasha, what they say, that it's like how it is real and eternal. The pots can break. Like that, the bodies can go away. But the Atma, the single Atma within that body, within all the bodies, never perishes. It is eternal. Atiteshu dehotpatti vinasheshu ghatadishu viyadiva nitya eva ahamasam ityabhiprayaha. Lord Krishna says, I exist eternally, like how Akasha, or the space, existed even after the different pots are broken. The single space exists without any changes into it, any changes within it. No change affects the space, but the pots, they are made. You can create a pot or you can break a pot. Similarly, the bodies can come and go. A single Atma always exists. Tatha natvam na asihi kintu asireva. Similarly, all of you did exist. You existed also. Tatha na ime janadipa nasan. Similarly, all these kings did not cease to exist in the past. They were there all the time. Tatha nachaiva na bhavishyamaha. In the future also, we will continue to exist. We will not cease to exist. Ato asmat deha vinashat param uttarakalepi trishvapi kaleshu nityaha atmaswarupena ityartaha. Hence, after the body goes away, after the body perishes, after that point, trishvapi kaleshu, in past, present, and future, nityaha, eternal, atmaswarupena ityartaha. Look at this. The word nityaha is used in plural, but what it means is here only because of Atma, which is the single Atma, we are eternal. There is no we there. Really speaking, it is one Atman which is eternal. Deha bhedanuvritya bahuvachanam na atma bheda viprayena. There are no different souls, different Atmans, but there are different bodies. So the plurality here used is because of bodies and not because of plural Atmans. There is no plural Atmans. There is only one Atman. This is what Shankaracharya says. This is a significant different point of view, right? It's very clear. It's a very different point of view, and there are reasons for it, and we will learn about the reasons in the next few slides. And this I have just summarized Shankar Bhashya in English. You can read it. It's pretty same thing what we talked about. Next slide. Here we read Ramanujacharya Bhashya here. Prathamam tavat atmanam swabhavam shrunu. Listen to the nature of Atmas. Aham Sarveshwaraha Tavat. See what Ramanujacharya straight right here separates out is Atmas are many. There are different kind of Atmas. But Lord Krishna is a different type of Atma. He is Paramatma. Aham Sarveshwara Tavat means Lord Krishna is the ruler of everyone, the Lord of all. Ataha Vartamanat Purvasmin Anadu Kalena Nasam. Before this time, I always existed. I never ceased to exist any time in the past. Apitu Asam. Sonmukashchaiti Shitavyaha, all of you people who are ruled by this Lord, they are Kshetrajnas. It's a term called Kshetrajna. The details of Kshetrajna is explained in the 13th chapter. For our purpose here, Kshetrajnas are souls. Nanasan, the souls never ceased to exist in the past. They always existed. Apitu asan. Aham cha yuyam cha sarve vayam. That is I, all of you, all of us. Asmad anantare kale. After this time, we will not cease to exist, we will exist. We will continue to exist. Apitu bhavishyamah eva. Yatha aham sarveshwaraha paramatma nityaha. Like how I, that is Lord Krishna, is Sarveshwara, Lord of all, and am eternal. There is no doubt about it because he is the Lord of everything. Since there is no doubt about it, exactly similar to that, tathaiva bhavantaha, in the same fashion, all of you souls are eternal. And this is to be understood. Hence, in this shloka, Ramanujacharya says, Lord Krishna's, that is ruler of everybody, that is a Paramatma, there is difference between Bhagavan and all the souls. And this difference is Paramarthika. It is not an ignorance. The difference is not due to ignorance. It is absolute truth that there is difference between souls and Paramatma. And this has been clearly told by Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself because he has used plural references to all entities and assigned eternality to plural entities which are souls, which includes Paramatma also. Paramatma and all the souls, they're all plural and they are eternal. So this is very clear. Now we will go a little deeper into Ramanuja Bhashya. Ajnana mohitam pratitam nivrittaye paramarthika nityatvopadesha samaye aham tvam ime sarve vayam iti vyapadeshat. First of all, Arjuna is confused, right? He is totally confused. What is the situation? We went through his situation. He is absolutely confused. His bow is slipping from his arm. He falls at the feet of Krishna saying that I cannot fight. So he is totally confused. During such a situation, can Lord use sentences that can be mistaken? Using plural references and referring to one Atma and there is no other Atma but one Atma? Can he say plural sentences, the ham, tvam, ime, sarve, all these kind of plural references? It is almost cruel for Paramatma to use mistakable language at this point because he is trying to say something fundamental, very valuable. It's almost a central aspect of philosophy. While imparting such important content, he wouldn't have used mistakable sentences according to Ramanujacharya. Upadhikatma bhedavadehi atma bhedasya atatvikattvena tatvopadesha samaye veda nirdesho na sangacchate. If we can say that Upadhikatma bhedavada means, look, just like how pot is now containing the space as a pot space, tumbler space, or cup space. the space is only one, but you can use adjuncts or adventitious references to just constrict a single space into different spaces. So Upadhika Atma Bhedavada, the differences are only because of the constraints or the adjuncts, such as the pot or a cup or a tumbler or something like that, right? This because this is a Tattvopadesha Samaya. Tattva is being taught. The principles of philosophy which are fundamental are being taught. During this time, the such language does not work. Atma Bhedasya Atattvikatvena. If at all, there is no Atma Bheda, right? In the Tattvopadesha, that is Upadhika Atma Bheda, means there is single sky. And we are saying it's spot space and tumbler space and all. There's only single space. So there is no real multiple Atmas there. During this time, such language is not correct. So Lord's intention is not to teach that there is a single Atman. Lord's intention is to teach that there are several Atmans. And naturally, there are multiple souls. Bhagavan, and this is natural, and Shruti says in Kathopanishad, it says, Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam, Eko Bahunam, Yo Vidadhati Kaman. Nityo Nityanam means eternal among eternals. Chetanas Chetananam means consciousness among multiple consciousnesses. Eko Bahunam, one among many, who satisfies the desires of all these multiple consciousness, that is Jeevas. So here, Nityanam, Bahunam, Chetananam, Ya Ekaha Nityaha Chetanaha Sa Kaman Vidadati Ityartaha. Ramanujacharya separates out the sentence in readable format. Says, among eternal many consciousnesses, he is one eternal consciousness who satisfies the desires of them. Now, I want to just tell you about an episode which happened long time back. This is just a, just to tell you that it is such a important thing. I was about like 25 years, just fresh in the United States. And I was in the University of Maryland at the early morning at 5 a.m. Swami Chinmayananda was invited for a lecture. And it was a Bhagavad Gita lecture or Upanishads lecture, I don't remember. Here, Swami Chinmayananda was talking about Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam, Eko Bahunam, Ya Vidadati Kaman. Then what happened was, I was very, alert and said, oh, it should be Nityo Nityanam, because it is eternal among eternals, I said. Suddenly, Swami Chinmayananda stops. Young man, do you think the avagraha chinha between Nityo and Anitya, it should be Anityanam, not Nityanam. There is an avagraha chinha. And in the next slide, you see this Nityo Nityanam. When the A is dropped in Sanskrit, when it is a Nityo and Anityanam, suppose it is Anityanam, Nityo Anityanam, the A gets dropped and you spell it as Nityo Nityanam, but instead of the A, you put an S sign there. And Swami Chinmayananda said, oh, that avagraha chinha, do you think there's a dollar sign there? So everybody laughed, and I just kept quiet. So what Swami Chinmayananda and Advaita people generally break this as Nityo Anityana. So their reading of this verse is different. He is one eternal. That way they avoid the multiple soul problem. He is one eternal among the ephemeral, that is temporal or perishable, conscious among the conscious, that is Chetana Chetananam, being one, dispenses desired objects to many intelligent who see him seated in themselves, to them eternal peace, not to others. So now what happened was, I was trying at that time when I met Swami Chidananda, I did not have the knowledge and maturity to say, what is the right way to break this Upanishad verse? Can you break it as Nityo Nityanam, or should you break it as Nityo Anityanam? So these two options are there, and the meanings totally changes because of how you deal with Sanskrit. It took a long time, and I happened to meet Pathimulam Vardacharya, K.S. Vardacharya, my guru. So he said a simple thing. The answer to your question is in the next sentence itself. Why did you not see in the next sentence? Tamatmastham yenu pashyanti dhiraha tesham shantihi shashvati netaresham. Tam atmastham, that means that person who is right within you, right here, within us. A anupashyanti, who see him continuously, who meditate on him. Dhiraha, who are intelligent people. Dhiya ramate, that means our intelligent people who meditate on the indwelling Lord. Tesham shantihi shashvati netaresham. They have eternal peace, not anybody else. So those who meditate on that indwelling Lord, those intelligent people attain eternal peace, not others. This is what it says. So now think about it. If you say ephemeral or non-eternal selves, if you break it as non-eternal selves, how can non-eternal selves attain eternal peace, Shashvati, when they themselves are not eternal? That is, souls are not eternal, and they go away sometime, right? Or they're gone. If that is the case, how can they have eternal peace? So this sentence does not make sense if you say the souls are ephemeral. The souls have to be eternal because they will have eternal peace. Whoever meditates on the Lord within will get eternal peace, and they have to be eternal too. So this is K.S. Vardacharya Swami helped me out with this. Believe me, it took me, I would say 10, 15, 20, 30 years to understand this trick, that the answer for this question is right here in the next sentence. I don't think anybody mentioned. One, if you have not purchased this book, it is in Sanskrit, Sarvankasha, which is the commentary written by Sri Kotamangalam Vardacharya on Tattva Mukta Kalapa of Vedanta Deshika's work. You should purchase this book. Even though it is in Sanskrit, if you know a little bit Sanskrit, it is in very simple Sanskrit, you can understand it. But with the help of somebody, you will understand it better. This is just not one gem. There are millions of gems hidden in that book of about 1,000 pages in Sanskrit. It's one of the best books. I always keep that book handy. I will come back now and say, okay, by the way, at this point, we think that, oh my God, there is Advaita views are destroyed by Swami, by Ramanujacharya's explanation here so simply. That's not very true, because we have to understand what is the meaning behind Advaita. Why did Shankaracharya not know about this? Why Advaita came into being? We have to understand the history of Vedanta properly. Now we will go to the understanding of history. History of Vedanta, before it, will start in a particular way. First of all, what are Vedas? Why Vedas? Because Vedas are the original knowledge, which we take it as a standard. Bhagavad Gita and all are summary of the Upanishads in a way, but Lord Krishna himself said Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita has its own standing, an independent standing, even independent of Vedas in a way, right? But all our knowledge came from the Chaturdasha Vidyasthanas, which all started from the Vedas in a way. How did Vedas, were they written? We already have talked about this earlier. Vedas were, Maharshis did dhyana, they did tapas, they did meditation, and realized knowledge within, saw everything within themselves by pure going to the Turiyavastha, by pure meditation. They were not trying to refer to libraries at that time. No libraries, nothing. Just they realized. And then I have given the or example of Dakshinamurti, who with silence imparted knowledge to Sanaka Sanandana the rishis without talking. We talked about this earlier. And that's how knowledge got transmitted from one rishi to the next rishi. But after a few generations, the transmission, the knowledge transmission methodology, they lost, which is known as the Prayoga Vijnana. How do I initiate somebody without talking? That such a capacity is gone now, right? So people started writing the Vedas. That's when Vedas got written. And afterwards, there are so many versions of it, and all of how many Vedas are there and things like that, which we have summarized in the next slide. Major Veda, Atharvaveda, Samveda, and all. Upangas, Mimamsa, Nyaya, Purana, Dharmashastras. They are the Upangas, the Vedangas. And the Vedas themselves are broken into Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishads. These are all 14 sources of knowledge and dharma. Dharma means the methodology that's just not theoretical knowledge. Dharma means actual method of attaining and that realization. So there was this knowledge of transmission also. The transmission knowledge has slowly gone down, but we'll see what happens. But intellectuals, what happened after this, slowly people lost the Prayoga Jnana. They started focusing on the Panditya or the textbooks and this and the Shabdajala. That is all words, right? More interest in the words. So that the 4 Shastras, Shastra Pandita now refers to only intellectual things like Vyakarana, Purvamimamsa, Vedanta, Nyaya. What happened to the methodology of actual yoga and dhyana and all this meditation, that people don't talk about nowadays, because that should have been practiced properly and people should have realized all these things even today, but that has reduced now. Then for these 4 Shastras, Vyakarana, Panini wrote Ashtadhyayi, Purvamimamsa, Jaimini wrote Bhashya, and Badarayana wrote Bhashya for Vedanta, supposed to be the Badarayana Vistirna Vritti. He wrote a long Vritti, which is not available now. For Nyaya, Akshapada wrote a Bhashya. So if you think about it, these Chaturshastras were explained by great rishis. But in later on, the Bodhayana Vritti was lost. Somewhere around 400 CE to 500 CE. CE means Christian era. Christian era is same as the AD. CE is a better way to explain it, that's all. So what happened was the original Vrittis had Brahma Vikara. Brahma Vikara means the Brahman is the center of the Vedas, right? The Vedas talk about Brahman. Asti Brahmeti Chet Veda Santamenam Tato Viduriti, it says, right? Asti. So the Vedas says Brahman exists. And the great people, the good people knew it. But because the Brahman's transformation or Vikara was indicated in the Vedas, Buddhists started attacking it. What they said is, look, anything that transforms has to be perishable. So in your case, in the Hinduism case, in Vaidika people, Brahman himself gets transformed into this universe. That means Brahman himself is perishable. So you're worshipping a perishable entity, useless. You will never get anything. So they started attacking Vedas. And a person called Bharata Prapancha, who was a prior Advaiti before Shankaracharya, who believed in the Brahma's Swarupa Parinamavada. That means Brahman himself changes, transforms into this universe. He believed in that. And obviously the Buddhists attacked him. So Shankaracharya came after that point. And why were Buddhists not able to attack Shankaracharya? That's a very important question we need to understand. Shankaracharya made a clear demarcation. What Shankaracharya says is, of course, in the Vedas, Bahusyam is said. That is, Sadeva Somya Idamagra Asiti, Ekameva Dvitiyam, one Brahman only existed without a second. Bahusyam, that means it became many. When it says it became many, Shankaracharya says it is not actual transformation, but it is vivarta or appearance. That is, one appears as many. That's how he said. So, oh my God, then Vivarta, Buddhists themselves were agreeing with the Vivartavada. So prior to Shankaracharya, there was Vivartavada. Vivartavada means appearance, not transformation, but just appearance. One appearing as many. So Buddhists were confounded and they said, oh, everything looks like what we think is right. So Shankaracharya is probably on our side. And Shankaracharya also played the cards by using terminology similar to Buddhists to attract Buddhists to get them under his hold. They started agreeing with him. And he said, Vijnanavada, in Buddhism, they had something called Vijnanavada. There's multiple consciousnesses exist. And Shankaracharya said, there's no point in keeping multiple consciousness. One consciousness is enough. Brahman is enough. Just agree with Brahman. So let us go deeper into this. So Shankaracharya's date is somewhat modern acceptance is 788 Christian era, but some people think that he was prior to Buddha himself. That's a separate set of people who agree with that. Now, what is the Upadana Karana? Upadana Karana we talked about? Brahman is a material cause. What does it mean? Like in the case of a pot, mud is the material cause. Using mud, the mud becomes the pot. Right? Similarly, Brahman becomes this universe. That's how the Upadana Karana means. And I just want to mention to you with a picture so that you understand it clearly. Brahman as the efficient cause mean, so in this creation of a pot, right, you have an efficient cause, that is the person who makes the pot, who uses the wheel, the potter's wheel, and other instruments, and mud, water, and all those things, and then he makes the pot. In the case of universe, what happens? Brahman himself is like a potter. He made this, and he himself transformed himself into this universe. So this is this is now nimitta karana, means efficient cause. Brahman as just maker, as a potter, that means it's an efficient cause. Now, some systems of thought, like the Advaita people, believe that Brahman is not the material cause. Brahman is only the nimitta karana, or the efficient cause, that, like a potter, he just put things together. That is, he just took Prakriti, which existed eternally, and the Jeevas, which existed eternally. He brought them together. That's all. And gave the Jeevas the bodies so that they can experience pleasure and pain, and they can work towards their spiritual improvement. So now, one second. Now, next, here. So we talked about Bharata Prapancha. Bharata Prapancha was prior to Shankaracharya, and he said it is Abheda only. Abheda means the mud becomes the pot. So, similarly, Brahman becomes the universe. So there is Abheda. Brahman is the cause, like how mud is the cause. And the cause transforms into universe, which is made of living and non-living beings. So difference and non-difference can both be accepted, because difference exists after creation. Prior to that, there is no difference. I want to mention to you, in the right, you see Tattvamukta Kalapa, Sarvankasha book of K.S. Varadacharya. And I mention page number 172. Here he goes into clear details of Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam, Eko Bahunam, Yavidadati Kaman. His explanation is very clear here. I just wanted to mention to you page 172 so that in the next 10 pages he explains in detail different philosophies like Yadava philosophy, Yadavacharya's philosophy, Bhaskaracharya's philosophy, many philosophies he explains, and how he combines into how we understand philosophy today. So it's a very interesting book for people who wants to go deeper. Now, come back and say, what did Buddhism do at that time? Buddhism started, it's called Shunya Vivartavada. We just compare it to Buddhism so that we understand what they are about. Say there is a lamp, not a lamp, a flame. How did you light up a candle and you'll get the flame, right? So, and suppose you blow the candle away, that means there is no flame. Flame is gone. So what Buddhists said is, Buddha himself may not have said many things. Okay, the Buddhism, what we have is actually what the Buddhists wrote after Buddha passed away. So Buddhism has got so many different versions of it. So that's a complex subject by itself. We'll just simplify and say that here, what does Shunya Vivartavada mean in the Buddhist context? That means nothing existed before the flame was there. The candle flame was there after we lighted it up. But before lighting it up, there is nothing. And after we blow the candle away, that means there is nothing. So nothing existed before. It became this universe. And afterwards, it becomes nothing. So they said it is the whole universe is Shunya. But is Shunya nothing? That's the big question. Really speaking, in Sahasranama, you may remember there is something like Viraha Vishamashunyo. Lord Vishnu's name itself is Shunya. One of the names is Shunya. I don't think many people use that name to name their children and call child by, hey Shunya, come here. Right? Nobody uses that name for naming, but Shunya is also the name of Lord Vishnu. So what is Shunya? Shunya is not really nothing, but it's something, but it's hard to explain, that's all. And in the Madhyamika theory, they go into details about what exactly Shunya means. But in English, we translate it as nothing, as simple as that. So in Shunya Vivartavada, nothing appears as this universe. This picture on the right is a man looking at this bright sun and all the city in front of him. There's a universe, right? So nothing appears as this universe. Look at the Vivarta. The word Vivarta means it's appearance. It's not transformation. As according to Buddhists, nothing appears like this universe and it becomes nothing. So think how Shankaracharya, because it's very important to understand the historic background of Vedanta. When people were there, when Shankaracharyas were there are lots of Buddhists and Jains and other people around him. King Ashoka had established a fantastic Buddhist system all over India and even beyond India, right? Ceylon and so many other neighboring countries were filled with Buddhists. And Shankaracharya himself talks about Jatilo, Mundi, Lunjita Kesha, Udara Nimittam, Bahukruta Veshaha in in Bhajagovindam verses, right? So there were number of Buddhists, and Shunya Vivartavada was there at the time. If you look at the next, Vivarta is appearance. Now, understand Shankaracharya's view properly. The reason why I brought this is, when you try to understand his text, that is the explanation of second chapter 12 shloka, there's only one Atman. Oh, why the plurality was forgotten there? You may be thinking like that. But think about what was the reason behind it? Shankaracharya says that if you say transformation of earlier what happened in Bharata Prapancha's case, let's say Bharata Prapancha case, the mud transformed into the pot. And transformation means it becomes perishable, right? Anything that transforms will become perishable according to Buddhist logic. But Shankaracharya adopted it and said that, okay, everything that transforms becomes destroyed. So Brahman gets destroyed if I accept transformation. Vikara means transformation. So to avoid Brahman, avoid transformation, he made Brahman nirvikara. That means Brahman does not transform at all, but he appears as the word. Just like, suppose you see a rope and there's not much light there, it's a dark place, and a rope is coiled like a snake. And when you look at it, suddenly you think that there's a snake because you cannot see it properly with little light there. And snake is just an illusion. Snake is not there. So what Shankaracharya's theory is, anything other than Brahman is illusory. What we see here as this universe of mud, rocks, and people, and planets, and stars, and all these things, they are just illusory. One Atman is the truth. All the duality is false and non-existent from the point of view of absolute point of view. They're only relative. We are also false. And that's why we see this false universe. So all the sentences in the Vedas that indicate duality have to be depromoted to a status of relative reality. They are not absolute truths. They don't have real value. The plurality does not have much sense in it. But because the universe has so many plural things, we have to have plural references. But really what is underneath it? One Atman only. And all this, ourselves and the world and all the interactions, everything, they're all false. But to us, they are real. Relatively, they're real. Somebody said this, I've already told about this joke, Somebody was talking about Advaita, and then he said, look, everything is false. Nothing other than Atman is real. And somebody from the audience came and slapped this teacher. And then, why are you slapping me? It really hurts, he said. Look, everything in this universe is unreal. I never slapped you. It's just illusory, he said. But that's not a good attack on the Advaita. I mean, people think that is a good attack on Advaita. That's not. Because the relative reality, they accept, yes, it pains. Yes, there is multiple people here. We have pain, pleasure. So they accept the relative reality as real as any other system of thought, like any other Dvaita system or Vishishtadvaita system. They accept that there is multiplicity in this universe. Unreality is at a very high level. Only when you become jnani, only when you become complete jnani, all you realize is Brahman and nothing else exists for you. So it is not an ordinary realization. It is a real transformation. Now, I ask you a question. And if you can answer, please think about this. How do you get rid of the snake? When you see the rope, you think that it's a snake. But how do you get rid of the snake? Can you take a stick and beat it and then get rid of the snake? No. You can get rid of the snake only by shining a light on it. Take a torch and shine light on it. And then you say, oh, when you clearly see it, it is not a snake, it's just a coiled rope. So how does one get moksha according to Shankaracharya? It is not by action. It is not by working, doing japa, tapa, karma, all these things. This action cannot help. It is like beating the rope with beating the snake with a rope. The snake will not go away. Snake goes when you really know what it is. So knowledge is the tool by which one can attain moksha. Jnanat mokshaha. That's why he said, through jnana, one can attain moksha. So this we need to remember, because the karma jnana theory will come in the future. I have avoided that, because even earlier the concept of karma and jnana was explained by Shankaracharya in great detail. I did not want to bring it up right away. There are some things I have avoided because I want to slowly get the concepts into people. Now let's go further. Shankaracharya's view now is, we are probably taking this a little slow because I'm looking at the watch, but it's worth it. Believe me, we'll do it slowly because you understand things clearly. Otherwise, we can rush and nobody will understand too much. That's not good. So let us understand the Shankaracharya's view, right? What is Jiva in Shankaracharya's view? Jiva is consciousness in the body, but it is actually limitation on the Brahman, just like the pot space. Pot has limited the space and made it into a pot space. Like that, the Brahman is limited by a body. The body means what? It is an adjunct, or Upadhi in Sanskrit. That adjunct is actually a combination of antahkarana vachinnam chaitanya, means antahkarana, the inner, the inner tool. Antahkarana means mind, mind, intellect, BMI. Swami Chanmananda says this always, like body, mind, intellect, BMI. That is actually the like a pot. That is the adjunct, which is holding the Brahman consciousness and making into a Jiva consciousness. Like the pot space as opposed to the open space. Open space is Brahman. Brahman delimited by Maya as Upadhi is Jiva. So now, how did Jiva appear? Brahman got delimited by Maya, or there is a Maya theory here, right? What Maya is? Some kind of illusory power. And what it does is, it gives an illusion only within an illusion. That means Jiva is inside the illusion, he gets the illusion there. Maya does not affect the Brahman. Maya does not affect the Brahman at all. And that is why, is Maya real? They say no. Is Maya unreal? They say no. That means Maya is neither real nor unreal. See, these concepts are hard to explain, hard to understand. That is why I'm taking some time, because you may have questions. If you have questions, please send them over an email. So what is this Maya? Second thing, Advaita means there should be only one thing. If there's only one thing, why are we talking about this Maya here? Because from the perspective of Brahman, there is no Maya. Nothing exists other than Brahman from the perspective of Brahman. So where is this Maya coming from? Again, Maya is also coming from our perspective, it is Maya. Neither real. And once Brahman gets delimited, that becomes Jiva. Now, again, there are two theories here. I'll just mention it just for information for people who are deeply interested. This is not very important from one perspective. Advaita, after Shankaracharya, it got separated into different schools of thought. Vachaspati, one person, he talked about Jiva Jnanavada. Jiva Jnanavada means that is like the pot space, right? Just like how we were saying, the pot space. Antahkarana, or the body, mind, intellect, restricts Atman, and that the restricted portion of it is Jiva. That is not a Jiva Jnanavada. The locus of ignorance is in the Jiva. Prakashatmayati, on the other hand, said Brahma Jnanavada. What he says is, he uses reflection theory, just like how sun reflects in water, and the reflection is like a Jiva. And the reflection occurs on the Antahkarana. If you take the water surface, and water surface itself as the Antahkarana, or the body, mind, intellect, the Jiva is the reflection of Brahman within. So that's how he explains. That is, Prakashatmayati explains. So there are different schools of thought after Shankaracharya. But the idea why I explain this is, Shankaracharya used this illusion theory only to protect Brahman from being from transformation, right? Because why did Shankaracharya have to explain this? Because Brahman should not undergo any actual transformation. If he undergoes transformation, he will become perishable, and that's not the right concept. So to avoid that, Shankaracharya upheld and said that, look, let us take everything as an illusion or a reflection or something like that. That way we explain everything properly according to the Vedas. So Shankaracharya had a reason to say there is one Atman, just like how one Atman is reflected in different waters, and different reflections shows that there are multiple reflections. Like that, in the universe, we see people who are multiple, who are so many, because the same consciousness is reflected inside each of these bodies. So that is his idea there. Hope this is clear. If it's not clear, please let me know. Maybe before we go to Bhaskaracharya's view, I want to pause and ask if there's any question here. Let me get back to and just stop sharing and just pause and say, do you have any questions here? Because it can get very complicated. This particular lecture can get very complicated. Now we are going to go talk about Bhaskaracharya's view, and we are going to talk about Yadava Prakasha view. The reason is we have to understand Ramanujacharya's explanation of Natvevaham, right? Natvevaham, I'm giving background before you can understand the next few sentences of Ramanuja Bhashya. We have to go through this. Any questions here? Apparently not. Then I'll go back to sharing the, continue it with the lecture. Okay. Now, look at this here. What is Bhaskaracharya's view? And why do we need to understand it? Because Bhaskaracharya gets attacked by Ramanujacharya eventually. Bhaskaracharya was not an ordinary person. He wrote a complete bhashya on the Brahma Sutras, and he really tried to attack the idea of unreality, the Maya theory. He did not like the Maya theory proposed by Shankaracharya, so he started heavily condemning the Maya theory. So many people started condemning the Maya theory. Right? Maya theory is not an easy thing to deal with. But Shankaracharya used it as a very powerful tool to protect the vikara for Brahman. That is Brahman. Now, what Bhaskaracharya said is, look, Maya is matter, only Prakriti, right? It's just Prakriti is matter. And that is real. So, the what we call as body mind intellect, it is same as buddhi indriya deha, and buddhi indriya deha is the upadhi, and that is also real. So we have a real set of senses and body mind intellect, and matter is real. Brahman, let it get transformed by an adjunct. Adjunct is like a pot space. Pot is real, and Jiva is not unreal. It is a real transformation of Brahman because of adjuncts like a pot or a tumbler or whatever, jug or whatever. But Jiva exists because of the adjunct, which is constraining the Brahman. Matter is both one and different from Brahman. Jiva is naturally one with Brahman because it's a space. Pot space is one with the large, the open space. And matter is both one and different from Brahman because it had to have come from Brahman, right? Brahman is a cause. So matter should have come from him too. You can take it as like how mud is same as the pot. Matter is same as Brahman, but it is different in the sense that matter has its characteristics. So Bhaskaracharya tried to change Shankaracharya's view by saying there is reality to both Jiva and matter. Now, we are going to go a little bit deeper into Bhaskaracharya's view. And why are we doing it? Yes, are we going too much into theory? It's only to mention some important aspects so that we understand that there was development of philosophy over several generations and several hundreds of years in India. And things got changed over time. And this historic understanding is very important to give value to why things changed. So Bheda is what Bhaskaracharya's views are. For him, Brahman is Saguna, that is possessed of attributes, but he is not like a personal God, but he is an impersonal God, but it has got attributes. And Brahman, God, evolved into the world. So he is Parinamavada, that means he transforms. Brahman transforms. And let us not get into deeper about this Jnana Karma Samuchaya. And Bhaskaracharya believed that only after death one can get moksha. Right? And Brahman can exist in the Karya Rupa and the Karana Rupa as a cause and also as an effect. And when the conditioning of Brahman is removed, he becomes one, infinite. That is like the pots break and there's only one space. Like that the condition is removed, it becomes one. That's how Bhaskaracharya thought. Now we just come into Yadav Prakasha theory because Ramanujacharya attacks Yadav Prakasha theory in his explanations. We just have to understand simply, quickly what Yadav Prakasha theory is. That is, instead of this, see, there's a duality in the Bhaskaracharya's view. That is, there is Brahman and adjunct, like a pot or something. And this duality he did not like. He says, why can't we take it as Brahman's own energy? Brahman has a Shakti. Shakti Vishishta Brahman. That is Shakti. He has Shakti. The energy transforms Brahman naturally into Jeevas, Jada, and Ishvara. Ishvara is the Lord who is taking care of the universe, created universe. Prior to creation, he is Brahman, who is only one. And after creation, he becomes Ishvara. And then because of his energy, he transforms himself using the energy into matter and souls and Ishvara. So this is the idea of Yadav Prakasha. He tries to modify Bhaskaracharya's theory. The same thing is explained here. If you have any doubts about this, you can refer to a book called The Philosophy of Bheda by P.N. Srinivasachari. It's a wonderful book. You get an explanation of what how many different views were there, and Yadav Prakasha views explained very well. So for Yadav Prakasha, both Chit and Achit, that is souls and matter, are eternal modal expressions of one absolute consciousness. So you never know when there is no real moksha in a way, because it constantly can change into matter and souls. There is no attainment of moksha. So moksha is very not so well defined in this theory. Now let us get back to Ramanujacharya's explanation, Natvevaham Jatunasam. So we will finish this quickly so that we'll get to that quickly. Ajnana krita bheda drishtivadetu paramapurushasya paramartha drishtehe nirvishesha kutastha nitya chaitanya atma yathatmya saksha. These are difficult things. There is no point in reading. Let me explain to you what Ramanujacharya is saying. Ishvara cannot see duality or anything else, right? Ishvara is, if we assume one Atman exists and nothing else exists, everything else is real. If one gets knowledge, he cannot see any duality, because once you get knowledge, all the duality which is because of error and ignorance will vanish away. So Ishvara, who is Krishna, Ishvara means Lord only. Ishvara does not mean Parvati Pati Shiva. Ishvara in Sanskrit means Lord. So Ishvara cannot see duality, or he cannot see a war, he cannot see Arjuna, he cannot see the chariot, he cannot see anything, any of this Bhishma, any multiplicity. Since he has no ignorance, right? He has no ignorance, he is Lord. So now we see Krishna is talking to Arjuna. how can Krishna see Arjuna or the army? If you say Lord Krishna had slight ignorance, because of the ignorance, he saw the multiple souls and army, war and everything. If he is ignorant, how can he teach Bhagavad Gita? So is Bhagavad Gita a product of ignorance? If so, Bhagavad Gita is useless. We can throw it. Hence, if you want to retain Krishna, if Krishna is knowledgeable, then he could not have even taught Arjuna. This is known as Upadesha Anarthakya. That means teaching anything cannot be supported if Advaita of this form is accepted. If you assume that Krishna is ignorant, his teaching is useless. So even that does not work. Assume now Lord Krishna became ignorant, and later on he did some sadhana. He gained knowledge. There is no sadhana there. He suddenly got knowledge, and due to knowledge, then his vision of duality, what he was seeing as multiple things, multiple people, and all this world, how we see, all the vision of multiple things went away because he got knowledge. It sort of got destroyed, but a little bit still persisted. Little bit of this knowledge of this external world, little bit persisted. Like how burnt cloth is, suppose we wear a cloth and this cloth is burnt, but still it looks like as if I have this cloth, right? Because it may be looking dark or something, but it looks like as if I have a cloth, but it cannot do the work of a cloth because it will break away. The moment you touch like this, it will break away because it's burnt. So his ajnana, which is causing the multiplicity, is all burnt because of knowledge, but it still exists a little bit. It just persists. Can we assume like that? If you assume like that, it's not correct, because this cloth is of no value if it is burnt, and if it doesn't do its job, he cannot see multiplicity. He cannot see multiple things around him. Now you come back and think about mirage. Mirage. When you look at in the deserts, you see as if there is some water there, which is mirage, but it's an illusion. Can a person go and drink water from a mirage? No. So Krishna cannot teach Arjuna anything, since after getting Advaita Jnana, after getting understanding that there is only one Atman and nothing else exists, Krishna would have, nothing else exists, including Arjuna and the war. Why should I teach? He will never teach. There will be no action. So you cannot assume that this is like a burnt cloth. It has got a little bit value. All these things cannot be assumed. And not only that, we can never assume Lord Krishna became ignorant for some reason. He saw multiple things, and then he went back and studied the Shastras and learned under Sandipini Guru and all the other people, and then he became intelligent, and then he understood nothing else exists. We cannot say that. Why? Clearly, an Ishvara is explained in the Upanishads. Yes, Sarvajñas Sarvavite, who is knowledgeable, he knows everything. He doesn't start studying like us. He's always knowledgeable, eternally knowledgeable. Parasya Shakti Vividhaiva Shruyate Swabhaviki Jnana Bala Vikriyacha. His energy, capacity, all are natural. It is not achieved by perfection, by sadhana or some kind of activity, what we do, like studying a book to understand. He never studied anything. He's always Sarvajña, knowledgeable and all powerful. Vedaham, Lord Krishna himself says, Vedaham samatitani, vartamanani charjuna, bhavishyani cha bhutani, mam tu vedana kaschana. I know all the things which are in the past, in the present, and in future. Only I know everything past and future, nobody else. So clearly, Bhagavad Gita supports this. So this understanding that he had some ignorance, that is why he taught Arjuna, all these things does not work. This is known as Upadesha Anupapatti. Teaching cannot be supported in the Advaita view. Now, next shloka says, I will only give the summary of it. If Lord Krishna and all Advaita teacher Guru Paramparas, right, lineage, have determined for sure that there is only one Atman and nothing else, if that perception of duality still exists for them, then in that case, whom do they teach this one Atman to? If each of these lines of gurus of Advaita have realized there's only one thing, they could not have seen anybody else and they could not have taught to anybody else. No. We can say they're teaching to some people who are like reflections of themselves in something else. This sounds illogical. No real person, unless he's mad, looks at himself in a mirror or on a blade of knife or on some pearls, and then looks at, oh, I will teach you. You and I are the same. You and I are the same. He will not, no person, intelligent person, will do that. So teaching cannot be supported here in this point of view. And there is something called another concept called bhaditanuvriti. What bhaditanuvriti means, once the illusion is gone, can it still persist? For example, take for example the issue of a rope. The rope, when you see and you mistake it as a snake, how can you really understand it's a rope? You take a torch light, and then say, okay, when you show the torchlight and you see the reality, then you say, okay, yes, this is only a rope. Similarly, when the knowledge comes, you cannot see the world anymore because the world is gone. Knowledge has come. That means it destroys the illusion of multiplicity and only one thing can exist. One cannot say, after shining a light on the rope, oh no, I still see the little bit of a snake. The snake's the tail is still, I see about 5 feet, 4 inches of the snake's tail. You cannot say that. Because the moment you see the torch is there, jnana is there, you clearly see it's a rope. And that's it. Snake does not exist. Snake vanishes. So hence, the illusion of the world illusion has to vanish. So, teaching after knowing is impossible. So, the vision of multiplicity, multiple vision is all gone because of jnana. And once the jnana comes, the upadesha cannot exist. In the case of two moons, right? Suppose we squeeze our eyes and see some light or a moon or something, you see there are two moons. Like that's obviously it occurs. But even though we know this, the two moons, the vision of two moon always exists as long as there is something piercing our eyes, something pushing our eyes. You can see two moons and two lights or something. This is not the situation. Once that is released, it's again you see the one moon. But in the case of two moons, while we are pushing and seeing two moons, we know very well there's only one moon, right? So that does not work. So if somebody has real knowledge, they cannot see anybody else, according to Advaita. Further, now it's getting really late, but I will just spend a few minutes. See, let us come to this last thing because it's a little complicated. I don't want to finish it now. It's the end of this hour now. We will stop here. And one thing I want to mention, don't think that every system of thought can explain everything properly. We cannot explain using any system of thought properly yet. Why? Brahman cannot be explained, period. For example, in the Vishishtadvaita theory also, one Brahman which becomes three, Ishvara, Jeeva, and Jada, how does it become three? If one is a partless, Akhanda Brahma, partless means there is no part in Brahman. Sadeva Swami Idamagravasi Ekameva Advitam, one existed, nothing else existed. How can that become three? Jiva, Ishvara, Jada. That's still an open question. Vedas also don't solve it properly because it's, I will come to that later. There's no real answer there. So don't take, don't take sides on this unless you know the complete picture. By just knowing all the Shastras, it's not complete yet. Because some things are experienceable and not explicable. Maya theory was used for a purpose by Shankaracharya, so it had its value and it has its value. And in Dvaita, the Upadhana Karanatva principle cannot be explained. But the Shastras do talk about Upadhana Karana. So how do we explain Upadhana Karana? That has a purpose. So Shankaracharya is goal-focused, focused on the goal, and it does not care about the present, the multiplicity, and the Jeevas and other things. There's not much use for Shankaracharya. Similarly, Dvaita, Madhvacharya focuses on the path. That is sadhana. For sadhana, there should be multiplicity. There should be Jiva, Jada, Paramatma, always separation. Because of the separation, bhakti is supported. Because that's why the systems have weak points this way, that way. We cannot push any particular system away. Because finally, Brahman cannot be understood. Yasya matam tasya matam, matam yasya navedasaha. If you think that this exactly is Brahman, then you have not understood. If you say, I'm not sure about Brahman, then you have understood. Buddhir Atma Mahan Paraha. That means Brahman is anything, it is beyond Buddhi, intellect. This is all beyond intellect. So we need to understand this while we study. Okay? We'll stop here. Let me try to ask you and let me see if there are any questions now. I'm just going to stop sharing. Now, let me know if there are any questions. Was it very difficult? I tried to put a lot of information in an hour. Any questions? Seems like no questions. Okay, we'll stop it. Hope this lecture was okay. We will know where. If you have any questions, please let me know. Asman Gurubhyo Namaha, Asman Paramagurubhyo Namaha, Asman Sarvagurubhyo Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanam Astu.